Namaste from Yugo Sanatani channel. Along with the Valmiki Ramayana, I thought I would also share with you the Hindi translation of important Upanishads. I had read in an Upanishad that whatever we seek in this world, nature brings it to us. I also had a desire to learn the Upanishads. Due to my lack of knowledge of Sanskrit and the depth of Vedas, I never had the courage to even read the Upanishads, let alone the Vedas. Fortunately, one day I found a priceless gem on the internet called 108 Upanishads. Translation of 108 Upanishads into simple Hindi by the Vedamurti ascetic Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya. And I also purchased this invaluable collection of 3 books. I learned Sankhya philosophy and Patanjali Yoga philosophy from my guru Acharya Dr. Harishchandra, and I also studied Vedanta on my own, which is available in Hindi as Shat Darshanam by Swami Jagdishwaranand Ji. I also had a good fortune of learning about the most important Upanishad, the Isha Upanishad, through my guru Acharya Harishchandra and his book and his live 6 episodes. I have completed my study of all the Upanishads through self-study and have decided to bring these excellent Upanishads to you by recording their Hindi translations by Acharya Harishchandra and Sri Ram Sharma. You will find this to be such an interesting and understandable Vedic knowledge written millions of years ago for our guidance. Before I begin my recording of Upanishads, I want to highlight some important topics for you all. I'm confident that listening to it a few times will make your further journey through the Upanishads easier. Let's begin with the knowledge of Brahm and Ishwar. Brahm, Ishwar and us, we. Brahm is a mere entity, formless and attributeless, or beyond attributes. Brahm introduces himself in the 40th chapter of Yajurveda by saying, Om Kham Brahm. This means that I, that is Om, am Kham. Kham means the subtler than the subtlest. And Brahm, it means the greater than the greatest. When this same Brahm appears with the power of creation or Maya, he is called Shaval Brahm or Ishwar. That is, Brahm is attributeless and Ishwar is with attributes, constantly creating, moving and destroying this universe. Ishwar is the embodiment of Sat, Chit and Anand. Sat means eternal, unborn. Chid means conscious, has its own energy or power. And bliss is its form, meaning it remains in bliss. The soul is also Sat and Chid like Ishwar, but not the embodiment of bliss. Because the soul resides in the larger body, which we call Pur, it is also called Purush. When this Purush unites with the subtle body, which is the amalgam of intellect, storage which is Ahankar and mind, it is called the Jeev or Jivatma, living being. So we are soul plus mind plus body. So mind is subtle body and body is the gross body. Soul plus mind plus body. Due to the limited power of the soul's energy or consciousness, we move our subtle body and gross body. And Ishwar, through his unlimited energy or consciousness, continuously gives motion to the entire world. Now let us learn about the inherent powers of Ishwar and Purush. Knowledge, action and pleasure are the 3 powers attributes of Ishwar and us. Man's knowledge can be right or wrong, whereas Ishwar's knowledge is unique knowledge of itself and cannot be wrong. Man's actions are either righteous or non-righteous, whereas Ishwar's actions are only righteous and selfless. Man's pleasures are pleasure and pain, good or bad, whereas Ishwar's pleasure is bliss. He is the embodiment of bliss. The fundamental nature, that is Prakriti, is made up of three basic elements with different qualities, Sat, Raj and Tam, and is inert, lacking consciousness. Let us learn about the qualities of these three elements of nature. Sat Gunas. Sat is purity, knowledge, harmony, calm, contentment, peace, virtuous living, renunciation, etc. Our intellect, which is Buddhi, was also created with Sat predominance. Rajas Gunas are fears, action, desires, ambition, energy, power, jealousy, recognition, acquisition, etc. And most people today are under the influence of these qualities. Tamas Gunas, idiots, laziness, dull, attachment, lust, excessive sleeping, criminal nature, etc. These are tamas gunas. When we progress in meditation, we transcend the tamas and rajas gunas and become sattva dominated, which holds the full potential of attaining Ishwar. Let us now learn about the creation of this world and our origin. The efficient or the instrumental cause of the creation of this world is Ishwar, and the material cause is nature, Prakriti. For example, in the making of a clay pot, the instrumental cause is the potter and the material cause is clay. First, Ishwar created an element or material by mixing Sat, Raj and Tam and called it Mahat. From Mahat element, Ishwar created my intellect with a combination of three attributes of Sat, Raj and Tam, and bound or attached this intellect consisting of three attributes of Sat, Raj and Tam to my soul, just as the thumb, which is like soul of a hand, is held in a fist, which is intellect. That is why we are called bonded beings. Intellect is essentially Sat predominant. Then Ishwar created the ahankar, the storage thing, the element from the intellect element. It is not ahankar or ego, but an element that holds and stores data of knowledge, impressions and experiences, a kind of library. From the ahankar element, Ishwar created the mind element. And to avoid confusion, I will call this mind, which is the master of the senses, Manas. From Manas, he created the 5 sense organs and the 5 motor organs. The combination of the intellect, ahankar and mind is also called mind or subtle body. The mind is the master of mind or Manas is the master or manager of the 5 senses and 5 motor organs. 5 sense and 5 motor organs. The sense organs bring information to the mind transmits it to the ahankar transmits it to the intellect and keeps a copy of this information, which the intellect will use later for decision-making purposes. The intellect, using its own wisdom and examining past facts stored in the ahankar, form its own opinion and presents it to the soul. Upon receiving the soul's judgment, it relays it back to ahankar. The ahankar then instructs the mind, and the mind commands the action organs. Remember, the soul is connected only to the intellect, not to the ahankar, mind or sense organs. This proves that the subtle body, which is inert, exists solely to serve and obey the soul. Just as placing iron near a magnet imparts magnetic properties to it, similarly by connecting with the conscious soul, the intellect and the entire subtle and gross body gain consciousness. Upon death, when this soul leaves the gross body becomes void of consciousness. Remember, after death, the soul does not leave the gross body alone. Instead, our entire subtle body, which is intellect, ahankar, mind, and all the sense and motor organs, go with it. The impressions of our knowledge, action, and pleasure, sanskar, of current and past lives are also preserved in our ahankar and are revealed in each new birth. These are the causes of repeat birth and deaths as well. Let's understand how our system works with an example. My friend James comes outside my house and calls out, "Tom, where are you?" His voice is heard by my ears. The ears transmit it to the mind, and the mind transmits it to the ahankar. The ahankar keeps a copy of this and transmits it to my intellect. And my intellect, based on the old data stored in my ahankar, tells me that this is my friend James. I then instruct the intellect to tell the servant to open the door and bring him in with respect. The intellect gives the same instructions to the ahankar to the mind, and the mind sends command to my motor organ speech to call out the servant and tell him to open the door and bring James in with respect. My voice, speech, then calls the servant out and carries out the command of the mind. As we said at the beginning, like Ishwar, we too have three powers: knowledge, action, and pleasure. That is, I, soul plus mind, am the knower, enjoyer, and the doer. The memories of all the knowledge, desires of all the pleasure, and impressions of all the action of current life and past lives are always present in our ahankar. And the collection of memories, desires, and impressions is called impressions or sanskar, the amalgamation of all the three ones. Just as we call the group of intellect, ahankar, and mind the mind, and these impressions are the cause of our repeated birth and death, that is transmigration. Let us now consider how Ishwar created this universe. Ishwar created the ahankar element from Mahat element, which is composed of Sat, Raj, and Tam gunas. From the ahankar, he created 5 nascent elements, tanmatra. And from these 5 nascent elements, he created the 5 primordial elements. They were much grosser, which we call Mahabhutas. Now let us learn about these 5 nascent elements, their corresponding primordial elements, and the corresponding sense organs. So what are 5 nascent elements? They are sound, touch, form or vision, taste, and smell. So let's see what is being created by the very subtle sound. So from sound, the sound converts to space or ether, primordial element, and the corresponding sense organ is ear. From touch, nascent element, it converts to air, and it has sound plus touch both, and the corresponding organ is skin. The third nascent element is form or vision. It converts to fire, and fire has sound, touch, and form, and the corresponding sense organ is eye. Then next, fourth is taste. It converts to water, which is sound plus touch plus form plus taste, and the corresponding sense organ is tongue. Then last is the smell, and smell converts to earth, and earth has all 5 primordial elements qualities: sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, and the corresponding organ is nose. So to understand better, this sense organ ear perceives sound, whose elemental basis is space. Similarly, skin perceives touch, whose elemental basis is air, etc. Another unique thing to know about these sense organs is that only one sense organ is active at a time. We may not realize it, but when we are listening, we are not seeing. And when we are seeing, we are not listening. We do these things only one by one, and it happens so quickly in nanoseconds that we feel that we are both seeing and listening, but it is not. Whereas the motor organs, such as hands and feet, etc., can function simultaneously, even two or three at a time, like we are walking, holding a phone, and talking on the phone. Ishwar created this entire world from these five primordial elements for our enjoyment. He gave grains, fruits, flowers, trees, plants, rivers, oceans, mountains, forests, etc. After establishing the law of karma, he sent us to this world to perform our actions and enjoying the pleasures of this world with a spirit of renunciation. That's very important. This is established now that the objects of our five sense organs and motor organs are only the five elements of nature. And apart from these, they cannot give us knowledge of anything else. Now, could you tell me now whether we can attain Ishwar through these senses or sense organs by reading, writing, speaking, singing, clapping, dancing? Please consider this. This is the most important question for today. Because Ishwar is not an object of our senses. That is, he is beyond this world or Maya. We must understand and firmly believe that Ishwar cannot be reached or attained through our senses or sense organs. Then how do we reach him? And how to get liberated from the repeated transmigration of life and death? It would be learned from selected Upanishads. Another significant point is that Ishwar has blessed only humans with the power to perform action by granting them with the highly prodigious intellect, whereas all other living beings are born simply to roam around this world without any intellectual purpose. Instead of intellect, Ishwar has given or programmed a special type of instinct or natural tendency in their brains, and they live their lives accordingly. They neither know how to think, nor contemplate, nor do they need to. For example, a lion in a jungle simply roams around, preys on animals to feed himself and his family, mates with lioness, fathers his cubs, and lives his full age like this. Importantly, Ishwar has given hunger, sleep, fear, and procreation equally to all living creatures. It is clear from the above that animals and birds also have actions. Also consider that the senses of animals and birds may be sharper or better than ours. They can see farther away, see in darkness, hear even faint sounds, run faster than us, fly in the sky at will, swim in water, and so on. So what is the difference between us and them? It's meditation, yoga, upasana. Meditation is only related to humans. Let us think about it and see if we are doing anything different from animals and birds. Very important. Let's move on. When this world was created, Ishwar created 4 Vedas to guide humanity. The 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva, were revealed to the sages Agni, Vayu, Aditya, and Agniras in a state of deep meditation. This is why they are called heard, Shruti, and are history like Ramayana and Mahabharata, because these events happened, they took place, and we remember them, we call them memories or smriti. Let's see the main subjects of the Vedas. Rig Ved is the most important Ved. It relates to spiritual knowledge, not science. The next is Yajurved, action, karma. Samved, meditation, yoga. Atharvaved, knowledge. Ved means knowledge, and Swami Dayanand Saraswati called the Vedas the book of all true knowledge. And Vedas have nothing to do with any caste or religion. They are simply pure knowledge. Now let's see the progression. Good deeds or actions, which is Yajurved, leads to good knowledge, which is Atharvaved. And good knowledge leads to meditation, which is Samved. And meditation leads to spiritual knowledge, which is Rigved. But what is happening? That today we are limited to action and knowledge only, and I have moved away from meditation, which creates a difference between humans and animals. And therefore, we have also moved far away from Ishwar and truth. For thousands of years, these four Vedas guided us, passed down from generation to generation from those four sages. However, as always, with anything that comes, it also suffers from defects and declines. Gradually, society began to drift away from the Vedas because not everyone could understand and memorize them. Noticing this deterioration, few wise sages picked up the main and profound subjects of Vedas and wrote Upanishads. They were mostly in the tradition of a sage and disciple. Thus, the profound knowledge of Vedas was presented in simple terms in the form of a question answer or a story. I will conclude this first part here and will meet you again in the second part. If you have not read or heard these things before that I have discussed, please make an effort to listen to my recording several times. Namaste.